All right. Thank you. Brother Carrington, hold on. So as Brother Pigeon has already done, we'd like to welcome you all. Brother Joseph, Sister Shireen, good to see your face again. Brother Kafra, Sister Nancy, Brother Ras, Brother Tayo, Brother Carrington, and Brother Pigeon. Yeah. Okay. So I think Brother Pigeon has explained that we read and then we all share our thinking. Yeah. Sometimes we ask a brother or a sister to share their thinking, but normally everybody here has a right to share their thinking on any paragraph read. And everyone's here's thinking is the same. Yeah. We're all equal here in terms of our thinking. So we all have a right to share our thinking. So if we are asking anyone to share their thinking on any paragraph, then we have to hear the thinking of everybody else. Of course, sometimes we do ask a brother or a sister to remind us what it was we all discussed, not so much their private thinking, but what is it we all discussed, if they can recall, and that is shared as our thinking rather than the thinking of one person. And Brother Carrington is our resident physicist. And so when it comes to a matter to do with physics, which, as you know, is a specialist subject, then we invite him to share the theory with us as established by the discipline physics. And as we know, in every discipline, there are sometimes contested views. But in physics, there are established views, which we ask Brother Carrington to share with us the established view, not the contending ones, which he has done. But that is different, though, from he sharing his thinking on a paragraph. That is different. So I think I should make that very clear. There's a difference between asking any brother or sister here to share their view on a specialist subject as opposed to asking a brother or sister to share their thinking. When it comes to thinking, we all have a right to have our thinking shared and our thinking heard. No one has any special right to have their thinking heard. So I thought I should make that clear. So Brother Pigeon, I didn't come across as me undermining you. It's just me trying to explain as we normally do things in CSG. So now that that is clear, let's move on. So and just so you know, everyone else here, if they want to go back to what we read and link it to the current reading, they have a right to do that. Yeah, that's why Brother Pigeon has shared the book with all of us. If you don't have the book, please let us know. We'll send you a copy. All right. Thank you very much, Brother Carrington. Please read the paragraph for us, and then we share our thinking. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Elder Christian. And more so in the case of philosophy, right? This is a philosophy chapter, which of course I have no more specialist knowledge than anyone. So what I'm sharing is just my understanding of what the paragraph says. So please feel free to challenge, discuss. I think even in the case of physics, this will enrich the discussion. So I'll read the paragraph. Thales was able to peacefully spearhead this intellectual revolution, which was itself a reflection of a social revolution. Because,
sorry, Brother Carrington.
yes.
Read slowly, please.
Okay. Oh, sorry.
Just slow down for us. Thank you.
Okay. Thales was able to peacefully spearhead this intellectual revolution, which was itself a reflection of a social revolution. Because the Greek priesthood did not, in the strictest sense, form a class. The Greeks, mindful of the massive constricting power which the priesthood could exert if it formed a class, shunned the oriental example discouraged life priests, and often fixed the length of time for which one was a priest or a priestess. Moreover, the high priesthood was often invested ex officio in the political leader. Thank you. You're mute, Brother Christian.
Yeah, it's fine. I am. Have you finished reading that? So you read from Thales to political leader. Is that correct? Yeah. Read the next paragraph. In addition, read the next one, so that we discuss both together.
Okay.
Thank you.
The above contrast of Greek society with Oriental society should not suggest that Greek society was without theocratic manifestations, as is often thought. Greek society had theocratic manifestations which were intensified under Persian rule.
Right, thank you. So, as it is with our tradition, we've read, Brother Clinton has read, and then we'll discuss. Please, let's remember that all of us here can also read. It's not just up to one person or two people to read. Everybody else can also read. But we recognize that some of us have mobile phones and it's hard to see. And some of us are using laptops, so the screens are bigger, we can see. So that is it. But all of us here have the right to read and the opportunity to read as well. So we've discussed. So Brother Carrington has read for us from Thales to Persian rule. So let's have a discussion, please. Thank you. Let's start with Sister Shireen. Thank you.
Sorry, I just jumped on and I need to see the text. Sorry.
Sorry, Sister Shireen, you said?
Did you say you're going to start with Sister Shireen?
I didn't quite catch what you said.
Did you say that you're starting with me?
Yes, please. Is that okay?
No. I need to
Don't...
read the text. Can you put it up again, please?
It's all right. It's on the screen. Even the previous paragraph. It's fine. We can come back to you. We can come back to you. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And I'm traveling, so please bear with me.
That's okay. That's okay. Brother Joseph?
I'll pass for now.
Okay, thank you. Brother Nkrumah, Sister Nancy?
Yes. I think as I read this, I thought for me the takeaway is the relationship between economics and ideas or attitudes about religion, and I think Thales recognized that the prevailing attitudes about religion had the potential of holding back the I guess the mercantile class interests that were developing, the changing modes and relations of production, and attempted then to explain the world in such a way that religion was not an impediment to this new I guess budding economic mode of production and relations of production that were emerging. So this is what I read into it. Of course, these relationships are very closely connected, and people's attitudes about the world and understanding of the world and economics are closely intertwined and often have an impact on one another.
Thank you so much. And Sister Nancy, thank you for using a very distinctive terminology, the mode of production and so on. That's very interesting, because you've ushered us into some of the real kind of terminology we should be using so we understand what it is we are dealing with. So thank you very much. For listening to you, I'm clear that you understand more than you have in the past shared with us. So thank you very much. We now go to Brother Nkrumah.
Yes, good day, everyone.
Good evening.
I expect,
Good
I
afternoon.
expect that everyone is doing well. What I have to say, I don't think too many people are going to like what I have to say. However,
Brother Kafra, please remember that this is a class where we share our thinking.
Okay, so that's
unless
exactly what
unless you are going, which I don't think you will, unless you're going to be disrespectful or insulting, which you haven't in the past.
Right.
You are sharing your thinking, and so
All
feel
right,
free
okay.
to share your thinking. It doesn't mean that all of us here will agree with you, and it doesn't mean we will disagree with you. But you have a right to share your thinking on the paragraph you have read. So please do not apologize for your thinking.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay. My name is Nkrumah Kafra, and I obviously admire the man Kwame Nkrumah and the work that he has done, right? But however, how I see it is that in his time, there was certain knowledge that was not available to him, or he just wasn't aware of it, right? And I see that it's important that we need to bring this out. Now, we are here talking about, we read about, basically, it was Greek culture and their thoughts of how religion opposed, whether it's with politics or whatever. Am I correct? I'm asking a question.
Share your thinking. It's okay. Share your thinking. It's fine.
No, I'm asking. Well, okay. I see that.
I think Sister Nancy's, Brother Kafra, Sister Nancy's presentation or thinking, if that helps, you can use that as a staff to share yours. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So, as far as I'm concerned, the whole Western system is a failed state, starting from the Greeks, the Romans, and right now with the American Empire, they're all failed states. So in other words, they started off on the wrong foot in the first place. In African culture, we do not separate religion from politics. We don't separate religion from spirituality. We don't separate science from religion, because African spirituality / religion is pure science. So it's a totally different thinking from how the Greeks thought. And, you know, people might think I'm going off the point, but if we want to solve our problems, we cannot take examples from failed states. The whole Western system has failed. And we look at their achievements, which was basically off of slavery, colonialism, and barbaric behavior. And we look up to them and say, wow, they can reach the moon, they can do that. But it's still a failed state. Look at the condition of people's lives around the world, not just in Africa. I mean, we suffer the worst from all this slavery and stuff. But the European countries are not doing good at all. In terms of children, the kind of stuff that children are getting involved in today, the kind of nonsense happening. So you know, that is fine. We could study what the Greeks did or whatever, but we need to understand our perspective, which I don't know if Kwame Nkrumah was aware of, that religion and science are exactly the same. Physics, chemistry, biology, zoology, mathematics, whatever it is, that is also African religion. And we should want to learn from a group of people that were successful, meaning that our Kemetic civilization lasted for over 103,000 years with very few wars. And I'm saying to you, 25,000 years ago, we did space travel. So it's not because we didn't have the science and didn't have that technology. No, we knew that nuclear power is something not to mess with, and that will pollute the world and stuff. It doesn't mean to say we didn't have the intelligence to develop nuclear power. We didn't have the viciousness. So we need to go back to our ancient Black ancestors and learn what they did to have had civilization and peace for so long. We don't need to waste time going over Greek stuff because it's only leading you to the same failed state. This Western quote-unquote barbarism, quote-unquote civilization, which is really barbarism, has not even lasted for a good 2,000, they're probably going 2,000 years. And when I say that, of their control, and they're about to go out. Their light is about to go out. So that's all I'm saying. And nothing to disrespect Kwame Nkrumah. I said I took his name. Obviously, I think highly of the man. But we cannot base our actions based on these people's failed state. And that is my input in this. Thank you.
Thank you very much. As you know, we are sharing our thinking. We've heard you. We'll hear what others also think. So let's hear what Brother Taiwo thinks. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much. So I'm just I'm trying to understand the text itself, and my understanding is that Thales was leading, or he was able to lead a major intellectual change without causing conflict in Greek society, and this is because their leaders, the Greek religious leaders of that time, the priests, they did not have as much power as priests did in other societies. So because the Greeks avoided giving priests lifelong authority, and the top religious roles were often held by political leaders then. So this reduced the priest's potential control of the society. And even though in Greek society, religious leaders did have some influence, it was not dominated by priests like in some other cultures in Europe at that time. And before Thales, the landowners, the aristocratic landowners, they turned the ancient clan-based religious practices into hereditary priesthoods, which gave these priests significant power, including over legal matters like homicide. So, and as private property became more important, so did the motive for crimes to secure inheritance. So these aristocratic priests then used the belief that individual crimes endangered the entire community to maintain their power. And so this belief persisted even with reforms by Solon, a contemporary of Thales' successor, Anaximander. So that's sort of my understanding of the two paragraphs. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for your thinking. We all shared our thinking. Thank you, brother. I want to hear a sister as well. We only got, so Sister Ida says she can't make it, so we only have two sisters with us. So it looks like we'll hear from more brothers and sisters. So Sister Shireen is not yet ready, so I'll come back to Sister Shireen later. So Brother Carrington.
Thank you very much. I'll share my perspective. First, I would like to say, and this is not in strict disagreement with Brother Kuruma, I understand exactly what he says, and I think it is important.
Brother Carrington,
Yes.
we are sharing our thinking.
Yes, this is
Again,
how.
Now, hold on. Again,
Yeah.
I must stress that nobody must apologize for their thinking.
No.
You know, we are just sharing our thinking. That's all it is.
Okay.
Then we will come to apply it to Africa.
Mm.
And I heard what Brother Kafra has to say. So did everybody else. And but I must stress that please, no one should feel that they must apologize to us. What their view is. The only thing we have asked for, if you look at our CSG rules, the only thing we have asked for is that if you come to consensusism, do not denigrate the book. You know, it's like saying that if you're a Muslim, don't denigrate the Quran, and if you're a Christian, don't denigrate the Bible, because if you're a Muslim and you denigrate the Quran, and as Salman Rushdie is reputed to have done, I'm not saying he did or didn't, but a price was put on his head because they felt that he denigrated the Quran and the Prophet. If anyone here feels that Osagyefo was wrong, feel free to say so. Nobody will be upset. We are not a religious group. We don't hold Osagyefo as a sacred individual. So please, nobody should feel that they have to apologize for their thinking. You know, So please, it's a space where we must all feel safe. We must all be patient. We must all share with love, share ideas, and so on and so forth. Yeah, it's very important. So, Brother Carrington, you just share your thinking. Ask everybody. Ask Brother Taiwo shared his view. He shared his thinking. So did Brother Kafra, Sister Shirin said to pass. Brother Joseph said to pass. And please, no one should feel that they have to apologize at all. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much, Elder Christian. I will start with my perspective that it is important that we study societies, cultures that are of the most deviance to us. It is important because we ought to understand what is universal, what is local, and what is effective and what is not. And I think it is on the basis of this that the Osagyefo was trying to understand ancient Greek society and in some cases, modern European societies. It is extremely important. Not making the effort, and even now, to understand the Chinese, the Indians, will lead us into trouble. I think it is very important. These societies, these other geographies are as of interest to the modern African as ancient African societies. I think this is very important. Okay, to the main paragraph now, to the main two paragraphs. First, there is something that all agricultural societies, and this goes back to my first statement, there's something that all agricultural societies must learn to contend with. And this is the problem of property rights. So agricultural societies and all societies which come after agricultural societies, industrial societies, service societies, must learn to deal with property and how to secure the property rights of the individual. Now, religion as a tool of social control can be used apart from force. So mostly property rights in modern Western societies and even African societies, multi-religious societies like Kenya, like Ghana, like very many African countries, can only be secured through the law and through force, right? Other ways of securing these rights are through culture, the elders, the priests. And this way, the people, the land owning class of any society will be invested. The property owning class of any society will be invested in social order and tools of social order. And religion can be understood as one of the tools of social order. And this is why the priestly class, the theocratic class in Greek society, in very many societies, arises out of the aristocratic class or the land-owning class. This is not just true in Greece, it is true in Songhai, it is true in Mali, it is true in settlements in Southern Africa and Eastern Africa too. However, there's normally a very interesting thing that occurs. As agricultural societies concentrate, as these villages concentrate, I'm talking about Gao, Timbuktu, Sofala, Lamu, Pemba, etc. As these societies concentrate, they build these towns. I've mentioned some African towns. They build these towns which end up moving power slowly away from the priestly class to the scholarly class in the case of Timbuktu, or to the mercantile class, to the trader class in the case of the famous West African cities and towns. And what this does is lead to a tension in the society. And the political class must find where to put down their sword. Sometimes they put down their sword on the religious class, sometimes they put down their sword on the mercantile class. And over time, the role of religion, because of these urban centers, and I'm sure you're all nodding right now because urban centers are the least religious in Africa. Because of these urban centers, these tensions begin to grow. And Thales, in this example by the Osajefo, is an example of this. So a philosophy, a scholarly class beginning to challenge for power over society, for influence over society. Only that in this case, there's a sort of peaceful transition, and the transition is never full, really. We will come to see, or if it is written in this book, but later on, Socrates has to commit suicide because of a judgment by the court. So it is never really peaceful. There's struggle, there's push and pull constantly. Why is there always a push and pull? Because, as has been said in the final paragraph, the priestly class never really becomes powerless as such in most societies. The priestly class still retains a role, even in this, in the United Kingdom, for example, where religiosity, I think, is below 20%. The priestly class still maintains a very powerful social and political role in the society. So this was my understanding of the two paragraphs. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Brother Carrington, a resident physicist, as I always say. So those who have shared their thinking so far, sorry, I'm eating here, I hope you don't mind. Those who have shared their thinking so far are Sister Nancy, Brother Kafra, Brother Taiwo, and yeah, so let's hear from Brother Coco, please. Brother Coco, thank you.
Good evening. Good evening, ladies.
Good morning, good afternoon, whatever we are. Yep, carry on, sir.
Thank you. We are in a transition, according to the passage here, which Osajefo presents in Greece, where there is a social revolution from that mostly based on listening to the priests, to that where the priesthood is being constrained or being controlled, what it can do or what it cannot do. Because the Greeks have now realized the power of the priests over their lives. But at the same time, let's not forget, people were awakening and realizing that there is the power of thinking and not just believing what they are told or what the gods are saying. So from what I can see here is how powerful the priests really are. And it goes back to that belief in on the outside of us, always looking outside and thinking real power sits outside the present, outside material thing, outside materialism. Because here again, we can see people who have committed crimes, who have seemed to have committed crimes, are expected to somehow be dealt with or be forgiven or given some pardon before the whole society can be considered to be clean or considered to be in balance with nature. So it's how things are. It's a sort of a crossroads where the old meets the new. But again, it just shows how transition has happened. Is him challenging us again to think, does the present or the power that is vested in the priests, should it really continue to be? Should we continue to accept that the Archbishop of Canterbury here or the Archbishop of the Anglican Church here in England should be the one doing everything, leading the procession when we put the monarch in power in England? And again, it's not just England, as Brother Carrington has said, it's everywhere. Even in my kingdom of Lesotho, where I come from, the priests are there. They head the procession whenever this happens, and they have so much power. But I think what he was saying here was that they were limited. They started limiting the number of years in which a priest can be in power in order to limit the power that they had. So it's just giving you ideas of how we can restrain some of this uncontrolled power which the priests had. But it's amazing, he's not questioning, or they are not saying, let's cut it all together. They are still giving them that power in the society to sort of give the spirits power to be, the gods power to be considered in whatever decisions they are making. Just as I mentioned, when some wrongs have been done, the priests have to be appeased before the whole society can be considered to be at balance. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Brother Coco. Let me go to Sister Shireen. If she's still not ready, I'll come back to her later. Sister Shireen, I think you've had a few reactions. Yeah. What is your thinking? Feel free, please ask again. That's okay.
Okay, I'm out on the street, so please bear with me because it's quite busy. But
do you want me to come back to you, or you're okay to speak?
How many people are there still?
In terms of ladies, you're the only one left.
Oh, well, in that case, let me just avoid this distraction or disruption. Speak. Okay, so what I get from this is there's always multiple, of course, multiple battles or multiple battles of the mind. First of all, and where it appears in the first paragraph that the Greeks, within their religion and within their culture, should I say, there were those who were already leading and didn't want to create a hierarchy per se, because by creating hierarchies, in this sense, it then leaves the power to certain individuals on a consistent basis, and it's kind of what you could kind of less of the of a democracy, more of a, and I say that word with inverted commas, and more of a kind of dictatorship is what they were kind of moving towards, in regards to having the priests, introducing the priesthood and that type of structure. So that's kind of what I got from the first example there. And also, let me see, where they discouraged life priests and often fixed the length of time for which one was a priest or priestess. As we look at the British political system, where we have the House of Commons and we have the House of Lords, it's problematic because in the House of Lords you have peers who have a lifelong peerage. So to a lot of people, that leaves them within a certain class, being able to influence decisions for those classes, because it is an upper class and they are the main, I don't want to say they're the main kind of groups that they champion. They're not for all. And although the overriding decision kind of goes back to the House of Commons, I don't want to confuse people, but the House of Lords is kind of this example here, where they talk about life priests and stuff like that. But also the fact that if you have the ability to have shorter lifespans within certain, how can I put this? Within certain areas of leadership, and I'm saying that again, then when you introduce change, it means that there is an opportunity for that change and for things not to continue as they do. That's the first part there. Just give me 1 second, please. 1 second.
Just so you know, Sister Shirin, we haven't read the third paragraph highlighted yet, yeah? So you're only commenting on the first two.
Sorry. Is it just that paragraph, or do we go to
the first two? Yeah, the first two only. Yes. Okay,
so not the Greek society and Oriental society should not suggest. You haven't gotten there yet.
No, we haven't got to the pre-Thales hereditary aristocracy yet. Brother Pigeon, just so you know, Swahili for Africa is not a name. We don't know who he or she is. I've asked him or her to change their name. So you've let them in. Can you please check, get them to change their name so we know who the person is? Thank you.
Okay.
Yes, Shireen. Yeah, we only comment on the first two paragraphs.
Brother Kwame, I don't know if that made any sense.
It did, as always. Thank you for sharing your thinking. Yeah.
I don't know if that made any sense, but
it did. It did.
I would appreciate.
It did. Yeah, you're sharing your thinking. That's fine. That's what we want. We want people to share their honest thinking. Thank you very much. So we've heard now from few. Let me go to Brother Joseph. Yes.
I'm saying I think
hold
I'm
on.
ready.
Sorry, Brother Joseph, hold on. Yes, Brother Pigeon.
Swahili Africa is unmuted. Maybe she want to either say something or he say something.
Okay. Yeah, Brother Joseph, hold on, please. Yes, Swahili for Africa. We just want your name so that we can change your name. That's all for this meeting. That's all we're asking. But you are unmuted. You can't speak, please, so we can continue. Yep. Carry on, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I put that in chat.
Sorry, what did you put in the chat?
Did you hear that?
So is it money?
I see. Yes, thank you. In that case, Brother Johan, you happy for me to change your name for you? If you can't do it, I'm happy to do that for you if that helps. Yeah, thank you. Now we know who you are. It's okay. So, okay. Yeah, that's fine. So this is Sorry, I hope you don't mind me asking. Is it brother or sister, Imani? Imani?
Yes,
Is it a sister or a brother? Sorry, I hope you don't mind me asking.
it's brother.
Brother, thank you very much. So I've changed your name for you, so now we can all see who you are. Okay, thank you. Brother Joseph, are you able
Yeah.
now or wanting
Yeah,
to?
I'm able now.
Excellent.
First
Carry
of
on,
all,
please.
without making any discounting any contribution anyone have made, I want to particularly concur with Brother Carrington and Brother Coco, their contribution. But my contribution is that
Hold on, Brother Joseph. What exactly are you concurring with? You need to let us know. We are not in your mind.
no,
Remember, you are
where
sharing your
thing,
thinking with
no,
us.
no,
So
I'm just saying,
please,
no, I'm saying the contribution they made. I'm fully endorsing it.
which
But
one?
I'm saying, well, where Brother Carrington, I'm trying to remember now, where Brother Carrington talk about the way, I'm not even remembering now because I'm trying to follow the rest. But
All right.
these are
All
two
right.
contributions that were made.
Carry on.
Okay. But
You
my
see,
own
you see,
contribution.
Brother Joseph,
No,
right? Just so before you continue, you see, it's sometimes you see when somebody speaks, like Brother Carrington did, or Brother Kafra did, or Brother Kuku did. Although we're all listening, as you know, all of us may be picking up different things or different understanding from what they are saying. So when you say, or when anybody says, "Well, I concur with so and so," we are not sure what you are concurring with. So it's good for us because we are all sharing our thinking to let us know what exactly you concur with, and then that helps us also our understanding of what that brother or that sister said.
but
So it's
we
always
all
always about sharing thinking rather than
but we all
it's always
listen to
about
them.
sharing thinking. Yeah,
And
go
I'm
on.
saying, I say we all listen. I hope we had listened to them. And I'm saying I don't think I have to regurgitate or repeat the exact words that they say, but in principle, what both of them said, I agree. I mean, I concur with it. Not in opposition to what others have said, but fully I support it. But let me make my own contribution. I think we should remember the earlier paragraph last week or so that talks about, one of the points was that there was no creed in the Greek religious situation, no creed. And that seems to me to have been one of the reasons Thales was able to use the opportunity, the emergence of the need for change, and was able to do what he did in terms of the peaceful intellectual revolution and so on. We also need to see to it that the limited nature of the limited structure, time factor in the priesthood play a big role, another role too. But we need to come and see how this have affected, how that kind of situation have continued even in the modern world, in the modern time, sorry, and have affected us. And I want to point out two particular societies: Soviet Union, in which where it is alleged that the Russian Orthodox Church was suppressed during the reign of the Bolsheviks. But we see what happened after the collapse of the Soviet Union, where the power of the Ukraine, where of the Orthodox Church have come to the fore again in a way that's almost unbelievable. In the case, the other society, I'm talking about South Africa now, where you had, and by the way, there's some interesting thing coming out of South Africa. It seems as though the ANC will lose its majority based on early counting. Anyway, the South African Reformed Church, the Reformed Church of South Africa, and others were able to bolster the apartheid regime, justify using scripture, using Bible, using whatever. And although their role have been diminished with the well, of course, with the change in 1994, we see another group seem to be very influential, like the evangelical, who are opposed to being vehemently opposed to what South Africa is doing internationally in terms of standing up on behalf of Palestine. So we see the role of religion, or the role of the religious class, that they never go away. There might be different factions, but they're never out of place. You see, as the sister said about England, I mean, it's there, right in your face. What we need to ask ourselves, why it is that the African part of religion is absent, and we seem to be afraid or ashamed of it. Whether you call it voodoo, whether you call it the Ethiopian Orthodox Church, or whatever other manifestation, we tend to be afraid of even identifying or accepting that this is part of the whole evolution of society. I'll stop here for now.
Yeah, okay. Brother Joseph, just so you know, during the celebrations of the independence of Ghana, and since it has always been the tradition that the owners of the land of Accra, I'm talking about Ghana here, who are the Ghana people, that their chief priest, Nai Wulome, is called, pours libation, okay, as part of the prayers. Then we hear from the Muslims as well, and then we hear from the Christians. So we have the Christian prayers, we have the Muslim prayers, and we have the traditional prayer, the pouring of libation. So I don't think it is a case that there is fear, as you have mentioned, or that is a case. But during some part of that tradition, we had complaints from one group against another group. And I think you will all, without me saying so, will know which group would be complaining that they don't want that group to pray. Another group was okay. The other one group was happy for the other group to say they are praying, but one particular group who think they are special than any other group when it comes to God, yeah, they thought that no, that group should not. We don't want that group to pour libation. I think you know the group I mean without me mentioning their name. So we've had that. But the Constitution of Ghana, I'm speaking about Ghana, does uphold the right of every group to freedom of worship. So I just want to assure you that that it is a case that there is the opportunity for all groups to share, to worship freely. Yeah. Right. So we've heard from Brother Joseph. Thank you very much, Brother Joseph. Let's hear from, we've heard now from everyone. Brother Russ, I know you have challenges with power in South Africa. Are you able to share? And maybe you can make reference to the Dogon people, as you brilliantly do when you speak, in terms of what we are reading. Because they had access to knowledge, but they didn't make it into a priesthood, so as far as I understand it. Brother Ross, can you share your thinking, please? Okay. Brother Ross is not, I think, able to share. So I think we've heard from everyone except two brothers. So we'll hear from, yeah. So Nancy, I'll come back to you. Let's hear from Brother Pigeon, and then we'll hear from Brother Imani. He hasn't been here for long, but I'm sure he's heard a few things to be able to contribute. Yes, brother.
Okay.
Brother Pigeon, yes.
Yeah, thank you. I want a bit to try to link this with what Nkrumah had presented in the previous chapter. I think Nkrumah is trying to analyze two ideologies, also called idealism and philosophy. And in the first chapter, he went a bit to analyze, of course, idealism before he analyzed materialism, to the aspect that he gave us the belief of church and religion, which is based on spirits and ideas. And then he arrived at a conclusion in that aspect that in the African state should be secular, having analyzed those forces. But now in chapter 2, it starts again with the aspect of idealism, which is looking into how idealism controlled ancient societies. And I think that it relates also to Africa, while our spiritual leaders did they not have control of the universe? Because as I think, Brother Kwame, sometimes you said, majority of us are born idealists. And then to transition a bit to materialism sometimes become an issue. But as for the standing of consciousness, which I do understand, is that consciousness do not deny the existence of spirits or idealism, but rather it treats matter not as a sole reality, but as a primary reality. While some people might take their positions, that some might say that everything is matter, everything is spirit. But of course, consciousness takes that everything exists, but everything exists from matter. So when I look at this second chapter, which actually looks back at philosophy and society, Nkrumah starts again to analyze how the relationship between philosophy and society. And whatever is text or said here in terms of how priests or the religious class held power, I do not see how we can say that it was Western thinking. Even in traditional African society, still the priest or the religious groups, the spiritualists or the leaders of let me say spiritualists, still held some power in our society. The seers or those who could pray and intercede held almost the same power as we are trying to see they were holding in Greek society. And their power were called divine, or were referred to be divine. The seers and those other people still had a very strong position, even in our African traditional setup. And this is almost the same setup with what Nkrumah is trying to analyze in Greek. So I don't see first how the Greek example or a Greek setup that Nkrumah is trying to analyze here differ with our society as African setup. It's almost the same in regards on how the priesthood and their power were considered divine and nobody could easily or question them, because even the kings we had could still have to depend on the prophetess or the prophets or the seers who will go and get the king even before the wars. And then the king will have to listen to that. They could not question that. They regarded that as divine. So I see the relationship between this. But I'm also trying to link a bit at the start of this chapter, which maybe I might not be able to go back here, but from my text where I can read it, Nkrumah starts this chapter of philosophy and society by giving very interesting topic here. He says that it is obvious from the foregoing skeleton history of philosophy that philosophy could very easily come to be divorced from human life. But he goes extra mile somewhere where he says that in our normal time, in our traditional time, actually the earliest theological speculation was congressional of thought mining that were surrounding great ideas of God. There was issues of soul, destiny, and law. But he says that that was a time when it was sincerely believed that man cultivation of God at the same time as his crops was one of his major purposes on this earth. Therefore, the purpose at that particular moment that of any human being was to live by the respect of the gods or the instruction by the gods. Now, when Thales is coming up here, when I want to connect this, when he says that Thales was able peacefully to spearhead this intellectual revolution, I must go back again when the aspect of Thales and the revolution was introduced. And that was done in some previous paragraph that you've read, when Thales, it said, he tried actually to lead two revolutions. And one revolution was when he tried to explain nature in terms of nature. And the second one was, I'm trying to check where it was, that the second revolution consisted in his belief that the unity of universe consisted not in its being, but in its materiality. So these are the two revolutions that Thales tried to spearhead. One, as I've said, was the first revolution matured in his attempt to explain nature in terms of nature. And the second one was when he tried to actually explain his belief that the unity of nature consisted not in its being, but in its materiality. Now, when he's coming here, and I think what some of the members were saying here is how now the society was trying now to separate or try to put some boundaries between the theological, the priesthood, and the leadership, the political aspect. And this has been very hard thing up to date. For example, up to date, of course, the so-called pastors or religious leaders do not become the president or the politician of a country. And therefore, the elites or the so-called politicians have found a way on how to do away with this political class and actually become the political leaders in a country. And that is also true with what's going on in Africa and some parts of Africa. But then this is actually, as just trying to analyze the Greek society, was enabled because of lack of that priesthood forming a class. But it is very clear that as time moves by and as society, the contrast of Greek society with the Oriental society should be suggested that it doesn't mean that even if political class come in to take over the politics, it doesn't mean that they're still not tied with some theoretical aspects. Some politicians still go back to the so-called religious leaders or spiritual leaders to bless them. And as even Brother Cummings is giving an example here, even a country like Ghana still recognizes the power of the spiritual traditional leaders who then pour libation to connect. So then this is how the distinction now came in, where the society started now to distinguish itself from the aspect of so much of religious or religiosity that actually Nkrumah trying to analyze in the first place. I would be interested as we move forward to see how then Nkrumah comes to conclusion in this analysis. So to me, Nkrumah is actually trying to do just analysis of society, which in one way or the other, I see it relates to our current context. And I'll be looking forward to see what conclusion does it draw out of this analysis. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Brother Pigeon, for your thinking, sharing your thinking. So the only person left now is Brother Imani. Brother Imani, you can either speak to the paragraph in front of you or based on what you've heard, share your thinking. Am I right in thinking this is your first time in our class? I know you've attended the Saturday class. Is this the first time here with us?
No,
No, you've been here before, so you know the tradition. Excellent. Carry on, please.
No, I don't know the tradition of that.
The tradition basically is that, I'll tell you, we read and then we share our thinking. And we should share our thinking without fear or favor. You don't need to apologize to anyone for sharing our thinking. Yeah, we don't want you to share your opinion or your views, because views can differ and opinions can differ. But what is going in your head, your thinking, that is what we are interested in, because that is where you see it is the thinking that philosophy wants to get to, because whereas the Marxist view is that it is your material circumstances that shapes your thinking, which we accept. Our position also is that your philosophical thinking can also influence your material circumstances. So for us in Constantism, we accept both. All right. Marxists don't like it, but that is our position. And that's why the Marxists sometimes don't like us because they say we don't accept pure Marxism. But we are not Europeans. We are Africans. We can think what we like, don't we? Why not? So, Brother Imani, please share your thinking. Thank you.
Okay, so I see. Yeah, first of all, I want to ask you guys a question. I think I saw there is more than 10 people on the platform. So has anyone studied history of religions?
we're happy to hear from you, brother. If you are a historian of
Okay.
religion, share your thinking with us.
Yeah, so because the things
Just so
here
you
you are
know,
talking about.
Brother Imani, all of us here have our different disciplines.
Okay.
Yeah. So I am in mathematics, but currently is in physics and mathematics. Yeah. So basically, we're all in different fields. Some of us are in psychology. So feel free. If you are our religious expert, why not share with us your thinking? Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's not expert, absolutely not. But I just because I saw the writing here is talk about Greek society and plus the priesthood and all of those things. But there is always one thing that left out when it comes to people talking about Greek, and don't really emphasize exactly how the Greek took everything from Africa. Some what they call Afrocentrism. They are coming up and trying to talk about that, but still they're not getting in roots on this. So if you study the history of religions, all these things we call priesthood or the government, the what they call today witchcraft or black magic and white magic, the medicine, all those things came from Babylon, which was under control of a man called Nimrod. Nimrod was a Kush person. Here in Ethiopia, we have the Cushitic languages, so Kush people. So who invent all those kind of things we pretty much call the Greek civilizations, even the one we are calling today, the Western civilizations, all come from one man. So that's what my point I want to just say. If there is any other things, maybe you guys you can say, but I think that we definitely have, if we want to talk about either Greeks or Egyptians or the Romans or the Western today, all those they are thieves who steal from the Babylonians who were actually under the control of Nimrod, the great reader of all the time as a black person.
Okay, so okay, Brother Imani. So, as you will agree with me, whenever you take a topic, you can look at the topic from positions of 360 degrees. Yeah, which means you can go around the topic. You can look at it from the east, the west, the north, the south. You can even go up and look at it from a helicopter. We call the helicopter view. So we acknowledge that there is history, and the history of anything, as someone said, is the most important subject. We accept that. In this paragraph that Nkrumah is dealing with, we are not looking at history per se. We are looking at the relationship between philosophy and society. And that is why some of us are saying it's irrelevant, and some are saying it's very relevant. And both parties have given their reasons. So we hear you, and thank you very much for your view. But I just thought I should make that clear that this whole paragraph is looking at the relationship between philosophy and society, not the history of philosophy or the history of religion and society, but philosophy itself and society. And as you've acknowledged, sometimes one person can carry that philosophy. And in the example you gave is Nimrod. In our case, although there were many contributors, the one who personified the philosophical struggle was Osagyefo Dr. Kwame Nkrumah. And we're not reading his book because he's the only one. Some people think that is why. It's not the reason. The reason we are reading this book is that it's meant to enable us to begin to understand the mindset that enabled our parents and our grandparents to fight and win for us our colonial freedom. The problem we have today is that we have neo-colonial freedom. How do we deal with it? And as you, Brother Imani, have made clear, because you will be presenting on Saturday, the neo-colonial structure that evolved after colonialism which also has shaped itself into what is called the African Union. You don't think that it is worthwhile. I think it should be abolished. So you'll be arguing that for us on Saturday. Those who will agree with you, there will be those who disagree with you. But this class, CSG, is about thinking. You see, we are thinkers. We are here to think things through. And we are not even here to take a policy position, you see, because if you ask two people, what is better, a cutlass or a knife? Then the question will be, it depends on the context. You understand? So whether a cutlass is better than a knife depends on the context of what it is you want to do. And so we, in this class, we don't argue about policy because there will be policy differences. The key thing for us is a principle that is informing all policies. And so we here are thinkers, and we ask people to think, and we share our thinking, and we hear everybody's thinking. In as much as you share your thinking with us, you must let us also do our own thinking. And if we happen to agree with your thinking, we will say so. If we disagree with your thinking, we will say so. But all of us are free to share our thinking. And what it means by that, Imani, is that your presentation on Saturday is a policy question. And so we'll deal with that when we hear you. Yeah. But here, it's about thinking and what we are thinking. You see, because when Nkrumah said that the black man is capable of managing his own affairs, when he said that, what was the philosophical principle which he based that position? Yeah, what was the philosophical principle? And Brother Pigeon has tried to draw where we've come from in terms of our discussion, in terms of the materialist principle, which is motion. There are three types. So all of us have the capacity to have motion. Thinking is a form of motion, and all of us have that within us. So here we share our thinking. So just to summarize, this paragraph that we've read and the whole chapter is about, is trying to answer the question, because remember, chapter 1 looked at philosophy in retrospect, meaning where did we come from philosophically? And Brother Pigeon looked at that. And to summarize, we've come from two historical traditions as a world, haven't we? We've come from idealism and we've come from materialism. The two don't agree, always fighting. Yeah, we've seen that. And then Nkrumah came to our position philosophically. In this paragraph, now we've looked at where philosophy has come from. In this paragraph, we are looking at its relationship with society. So what we are reading is its relationship with society. Some may say that it's a waste of time looking at the relationship between philosophy and society, and a society like Greece. Others will say, actually, since Greece is seen as the bedrock of Western civilization, and all our oppression, all our suffering, and everything that we are suffering as a people has come from what they took from the Greeks. Actually, that is what we should really understand. So we know where the problem is coming from, and then we can deal with it. So we can so depending on where you are coming from, you can argue your case. As for us, we are thinkers. We will listen to you and we'll make up our own minds. So let me go to Sister Nancy, because she raised her hand again. She wanted to contribute. Sister Nancy, please come
Yes.
in. I haven't shared my thinking yet. I don't need to. Sometimes if I want to share my thinking, then I intrude into my chairing. So I try not to do that. So I let Brother Pigeon chair. That frees me to also share my thinking. So I hope you don't mind that I don't always share my thinking when I'm chairing, because then I talk too much, and I don't want that. I want us to hear everyone. Right, Sister Nancy.
Thank you kindly. I feel like I may talk too much as well, so don't hesitate to stop me if you need to. I wanted to comment on some things that were said earlier. One statement, and I don't remember who made the statements, nor does it matter. But the West was referred to as having failed states. And I understand and agree with that from the perspective that capitalism does not provide for the needs of the people. But in the strictest sense, I don't think it's a failure. I think it's very deliberate. I think oppression is deliberate. Disparities provide opportunities to exploit people, creating dependency on capitalism provides additional opportunities to exploit, and using religion in a way to control people furthers that opportunity. I think, when the other thing I don't totally agree with is that in Africa that religion was always used in a positive way. I don't think that it certainly doesn't mirror the way that it's expressed in Western societies. But religion can create opportunities for exploitation because of hierarchical structures that provide for privileges, privilege to leadership, the concept of divine rights, certain access to resources that some people don't have, the profound social influence that can exert on cultural norms, and just on society in general. And of course, this varies across traditions and societies, but I think in general that potential, the fact that that potential exists, means it's something that we have to be careful about. And I think a concrete case in point is present day Swaziland. So there you have a direct monarchy, and that a monarchy in this regard is that the power is reinforced through tradition and through religions, and people often don't question the rights of a monarch based on these kind of traditions. And I think we have to be careful. We're not going to ever, well, I'm not going to say that. I just think it's very important. We always look at a class analysis when we talk about everything. So I think some excellent points have been made, and there's nothing I totally disagree with, and nobody's points I totally disagree with, but I just had to comment on those two statements. Thank you.
Yeah, no, thank you. And yes, you are of course at liberty to share your thinking as are others. So just to let us all know what Sister Nancy has pointed out, is that the monarch in Swaziland is an example of what, if you like, we are reading in Greek society. Yeah, in other words, if there's a chief, that chief has executive functions, has legislative functions, has judicial functions, has a military function, has an administrative function, and has a spiritual function. All 6 functions are in one person, whether that person is male or female. Because remember, our kings and chiefs have not always been males; they've always been females as well. If you look at our history, and so you have one person that in whom are all these functions. Now, Brother Kafra has reminded us that in traditional African society, we don't separate religion, philosophy, and so on. But then what does it mean? It means exactly this, that one person inherently has all these powers. It is a case in a republic, modern republic anyway, that is what we shouldn't do. We should never not separate them. Because if one person has all these functions, what will happen if they become oppressive, like in Swaziland? So I'm only putting this out there as a thought. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it. Brother Kafra, your hand is up. And then once we've heard Brother Kafra, I think Sister Pamela hasn't spoken.
Yes,
Sister Pamela will speak as well, and then we'll move on to the next paragraph. Yes, Brother Kafra.
Yeah, just to respond to what you just said there.
I'm sure you had no your hand up before I said anything. So let's share your thinking.
I know, but I have something else to say, but I just want to respond to this first. Even though in ancient Black culture, religion, whatever you want, spirituality, whatever you want to consider, there was a head, a king of kings, so to speak, right? It was not about this king enforcing his concept on everybody else, or his opinions. All right, because our governmental system in ancient times was that of divine kingship. So before you could have become a king, a ruler, you had to first become God on earth. So in ancient Black religion, you don't worship a man. It's not about this figurehead or whatever. And that is why in a marriage, a man did not commit himself to his wife, and a woman did not commit herself to her husband. They both committed themselves to becoming God on earth, and in so doing, they would eventually meet. But let me go ahead and say what I wanted to say initially, right? I won't be long. The science behind the way different races think, and hence the cultures they produce, we need to study that science. And we'll understand why everything in the world is playing out as it is playing out. All right, so that's just a point I wanted to make. Probably we could have a class about that.
Yeah, Brother Kafra, I think we have agreed, yourself, myself, that we will have a meeting to discuss some of these things. We are happy to hear your thinking. Different people will agree or disagree with parts of what you are saying. I don't think that anyone has suggested that in traditional African religion that a person is worshipped. Even if you look at the prayers of the Akan people, same with my people, same with the Gan people, same with the Luo people of Kenya, same with the Yorubas, the Igbos. By the Yorubas and us, because of where we lived, we're very close. The traditional African religion of the Yorubas are not different from the Evers. In fact, the Evers in Western Nigeria and the Evers actually are part of one group, although right now we speak different languages. If you look at it, we don't worship any man. Brother Taiwo is here. He can share with us how their traditional religion sees God and so on and so forth. But there is a sense in which the monarch or the chief, however you want to call it, exercises certain functions. Me, I am a Republican. I don't believe in kings and chiefs and so on. I don't believe in that. Yeah, I don't think that I should be ruled by a king or by a chief. The reason is I'm a Republican. For me, the people are the king. The people are the chief. Yeah. Yes, we can have executives who run society on our behalf, but we are the leadership. We are those who decide. We don't believe in any divinity. It's been used for so long to oppress us. God said, Allah said, the ancestors said, the spirit said. We don't have access to these people. How can we confirm that is what Allah or God or the ancestors said? We don't know. And you are telling us that is what they said. How do we verify that? Well, you say, well, you can't, because only we have access to them. Sorry. We want transparency. And so as a Republican, I don't believe in all these spirits and divine, divine kingship and so on. And it's not just me. In England here, England is not a republic, but even they rejected it. That's why they cut off the head of the king. King Charles' head was cut off because they didn't believe all that nonsense about him being divine. Yeah. So this is just my position on the republic as a Republican. Yeah. So that's all. And what I'm sharing with you is shared by all Republicans. It's not just me. It's not just my personal position. And when we got independence from the British, we were still under them, and we were still ruled by Queen Elizabeth. From 1951, although we got independence in 1957, from 1951 to 1957, Nkrumah was only leader of government business. That was the prime minister, which meant that he was still under the monarch, the British monarch, as a head of state. And then we got independence in 1957, but the British monarch was still our head of state. And because as Black people, we didn't want any monarch as head of state, Black or white, we moved to being a republic. So in 1960, Ghanaians voted for a republic. Yeah, 1st July, that's how we got a republic and got rid of the Queen Elizabeth as our monarch. And we had no monarchy because we are the monarchs. The people are the monarchy. It is we who must be served. It is we whose houses have to be attended to. It is we whose food must be attended to. It is for us that roads must be built. It is for us that there must be good sanitation, not some privileged few like in a liberal state or a privileged individual like in a monarchy. No, we don't accept that. We don't accept that. So we don't accept all this talk about divinity. It's just used to bamboozle us and to mislead us. And we don't like that. As I'm here talking about Republicans, by the way. Of course, there are monarchs. There are monarchs, and they believe in monarchy. We are happy with that. That's fine. If you want to be really monarchy, it's fine. We have no problem with that. If you want to be ruled by a king, fine. A queen, fine. We have no problem with that. But we are speaking as Republicans here, yeah? Thank you. But Joseph, you had your hand up.
Yes, I think we have to remember, or we should be guided by the fact that we are studying a text, okay? And I think, I think where early on I wanted to support, I said that I supported what the two speakers said, because it brought into context, and and you mentioned the word principle. We're trying to arrive at a principle that can guide our thinking and our behavior and so on, as people who wants to see the restoration or the healing of Africa, the unification, the liberation, and the development of Africa. So the text, the book, is helping us to fashion our thinking, not necessarily to accept verbatim what is written, but in terms of being able to evolve our thinking. I just want to ask people to think about how the influence of religion or the broad term religion still influence even the most radical, please or not. And when we look at China, for instance, China, in spite of everything, still has religion embedded in them. Don't forget the relationship between the Rome and the Catholic and China's Catholic Church. They could not have been able to break that link. So there's some kind of accommodation. If you look at United States, the role of the evangelicals in the current political scenario where the evangelical outright support war, they support, criminality and so on. As is the evangelicals in South Africa, who is opposed to the South African nation taking the lead it took against Israel. So, and it's something we cannot ignore. Not that we're trying to reach a state to re-implement those things, but the influence is so strong. And I mentioned the Soviet Union, former Soviet Union early on, because you would ask yourself, in spite of 70 years of socialism and communism, how it is that the Orthodox Church have so much power now. And we might ask the question, in case if there is a reversal in China, would the the Catholics or the Buddhists or so have absolute control in China too, because those things don't go away at all. They just manage or suppress a bit. So we have to look at those things, how, and we see also in Africa now, with the role of some of those evangelical too in East Africa, West Africa, where those mega churches are influencing how people think and behave in serious ways. Thanks.
Yeah, no, thank you very much for reminding us. Israel is meant to be a Jewish state, and they claim that a Jewish state means that it is a religious state. That is what it means. That is based on. Not everybody agrees, but it's seen as a Jewish state, and in that Jewish state, nobody else must exist except Jews. What does that mean? That means that is apartheid. And some people don't like it. Some like it, some don't. And that is the reality of the world in which we live. Right. Sister Pamela, can you share your thinking, please? Thank you.
Hi, everyone. Sorry for my lateness, first of all.
Apologies accepted on behalf of everyone.
Thanks. Right. So the thing that stuck out for me in this passage was about the
just so you know, Sister Pamela, we only read the first two highlighted paragraphs, not the third one, just so you know. Yeah.
All right, well, I've probably gone down to the third one already. But anyway, the thing that stuck out to me most of all was the this link with class and land and property, basically, taking over properties, which basically, okay, so what I'm trying to say is that from that early time, that persistent or insistence on money and land going together and excluding other people from that, basically, when I think about that, I think about how it contrasts into the modern world, and how I've noticed that often when, if, for example, people who commit a crime against their property, will actually get a lesser sentence than those people who commit murders. So property, obviously, it's capitalism. So property is valued more than life. And it's just interesting to see how far back it goes. And the other thing that's around religion, the priests or the priesthood and the aristocratic societies go hand in hand, as far as I'm concerned. And basically, although the aristocrats obviously keep the priesthood down, but the priests would have a huge amount of power. And I just think between them, they just influence the lower classes just to keep them subdued. One other thing is, I notice that now in our society, there are a lot of us who are calling ourselves kings and queens. And I just find that interesting that there is that need to be calling ourselves that when, again, it's as you say, Brother Kwame, it's putting down other people. So you're even within those words that we're using, we're raising ourselves, if we use them, above others. And I just find that quite interesting. And that's what I have to say at the moment. Thank you.
Yeah, Sister Pamela, thanks for your observation. I have in the past questioned people who say kings and queens, and I've asked, could we all have been queens and kings? Was that possible? But anyway, so I think we've heard now from everyone. Thank you all for sharing your thinking. We shall go on to the next paragraph, and we'll ask Sister Pamela, are you able to read for us the pre-Thales hereditary aristocracy from there to Anaximander? Because it's good to hear a female voice in the reading as well. Are you able to for us?
Yeah.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. The pre-Thales hereditary aristocracy, comprising the land-owning class, converted the ancient clan cults into hereditary priesthoods. To these priesthoods was assigned the power of passing and executing sentence at their discretion, especially on those who were accused of homicide. As private property grew, so did the incentive to homicide on the part of those who wished to ensure that they inherited property. The power of the aristocratic priesthood was based on the belief that those who committed certain crimes infringed the sacred moral order of society, and that they needed to expiate their crimes and be absolved if the whole community was not to be thrown into jeopardy. The idea that the whole community was endangered before the gods as a result of certain malpractices of individuals was not abandoned even by Solon, a contemporary of Anaximander.
Yeah. Very, very soothing. Can you read it again, Sister Pamela? I hope you don't mind asking you to read it again. Sorry, hold on. Brother Pigeon?
I just want to remind you that after the reading, you have time to share your thinking as well before we end the class.
Yes. So let's hear about that Sister Pamela read again. It was so nice to listen to her soothing, the soothing voice. Sister
Maybe
Pamela, can you read again for us?
She needs slowly a bit.
Sorry?
Sorry?
She might go slowly a bit.
Oh, okay. The pre-Thales hereditary aristocracy, comprising the land-owning class, converted the ancient clan cults into hereditary priesthoods. To these priesthoods was assigned the power of passing and executing sentence at their discretion, especially on those who were accused of homicide. As private property grew, so did the incentive to homicide on the parts of those who wished to ensure that they inherited property. The power of the aristocratic priesthood was based on the belief that those who committed certain crimes infringed the sacred moral order of society, and that they needed to expiate their crimes and to be absolved if the whole community was not to be thrown into jeopardy. The idea that the whole community was endangered before the gods as a result of certain malpractices of individuals was not abandoned even by Solon, a contemporary of Anaximander. Anaximander.
Anaximander, yeah. Thank you. Thank you so much. So the
Welcome.
time is 10 minutes to 9. We won't have time to share our thinking on this one. So we will suggest that you take this paragraph with you and mull over it, cogitate on it, ruminate on it, and come back to share your thinking on this paragraph, because there is a message, there's a big message there for us in the relationship between philosophy and society. Thank you all for coming. Brother Pigeon, I'm sorry to disappoint you. Because of the time, I won't have time to share my thinking either. So we've got 10 minutes to go over any other issues that are remaining, including announcements from Brother Pigeon for next Saturday, and then we'll take it from there. Thank you. Brother Pigeon, over to you.
Thank you. I think within this 10 minutes, if there's anybody who might want to come on anything in regards to what we discussed, basically just maybe making up something, or anybody who might want to pass any information, it's time for you to do so. Then I will come up with the updates for the next step or the next meeting. then we'll end it there. But as Brother Kwame has said, actually have some time to reread these texts. Sometimes I do share them in advance, maybe a day or in the morning. Please have some time to go through them so that you can be able to form your thinking or meditate around this before we meet to our class, so that it becomes very easy for you. I know we also engage a bit, but I'll be trying to send this text in advance so that you can have some time for it. So anybody want to either come up on something or want to share something in regards to this, kindly feel free to have some time to say that or share that with us before I make the readings, before I give the announcements. Anybody? Don't want to lock you out. Seems nobody's coming in. Okay. So basically, I will say that one thing is that we're in the process of reading. And in our reading process, it's not that what you read is the final text. It comes from a certain chapter, and the thinking or the discussion is developed as we move along. So actually, what we've come across, that Nkrumah is not afraid sometimes to expose or discuss some contentious issues or topics that people are afraid to discuss. So Nkrumah goes extra mile in this book actually to examine whatever thinking he had or whatever topic he wanted to discuss, examine it fully so that he could be able to come up with some odd topics that people don't want to share, but still draw a conclusion. So part of, like in chapter 1, we saw him drawing to a conclusion that our universe is made up of matter, with this basic law being our universe is a natural universe, with this basic law being matter, or objective law being matter. But this is after an analysis. So we ask, and I'll share also this book with you, to those who don't have the copy. Also sometimes try to read ahead, or even read where we are, so that you can be able to make your thinking. So this is just an examination of Nkrumah trying to examine some other things in order to take us deep into it, and also try, in our thinking as a class, also to try to think deep to understand what was Nkrumah thinking in regards to this, and what is our thinking in regards to what was written, and how can we relate it. I believe that every text written here has some relevance to what's going on, or what went on, or what can give us away. So it's just an open discussion that we have to think through, and this is not a final. So there are some chapters that come in, and finally we'll come at a conclusion of every chapter. And that conclusion might not be the stand of everybody else, but actually, I believe that conclusion will be arrived at by Nkrumah after examining all forces, because these are the dialectical thing, where we examine both forces of either idealism or materialism throughout, and how they play and how they affect us as a people. So just feel free to anytime share your thinking, but also understand that these are part of the reading, and it's built up to something as you move along. Brother Joseph?
Yeah, are you hearing me?
Yes.
Yeah, I just want to say, and a few hours ago I came across a clip in which this guy was saying there are three kinds of thinking. There is the please forgive me, my brain seems to be feeling me. Three types of thinking. One is mathematical thinking. There is scientific mathematical, like where you can show rational and logical, and the scientific is where you have a hypothesis and you're able to prove it or not prove it. And he said the third one is personal thinking. He said what the problem is that a lot of people try to take personal thinking and make it important in the scientific even the mathematical, which is impossible and create problems. I mean, I just thought I would share that sometimes we confuse, where we are coming from, based on maybe what influence we have had. I just thought I would share it.
Yeah. Can I help Brother Joseph? Brother Joseph, yeah, I think you are referring to the two ways of approaching the world. The first one being science, and the second one being logic. And then the three that you are referring to are nominalism, reductionism, and constructionism.
Yes, good. Thanks for translating in a way. But I just thought it was interesting. The guy, I just saw this clip and it was very interesting. The guy was saying, in fact, one of the reasons why I wanted to say that, he said, for instance, you can prove, and he said, for instance, he made a example of a kiss. He said, is a kiss personal? He said, yes. Is it, can it be explained scientifically? He said, yes. And he said, okay, a definition of a kiss is two lips coming close together, impressing on each other, and infusing carbon dioxide, which one is molecule and carbon dioxide. He said that's one of the scientific explanation. Maybe molecule is not molecular, and carbon dioxide is scientific explanation.
Okay.
You were saying that?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
yes,
thank you.
Yes. Mm.
So,
Yeah. So, Brother Joseph, yeah, I think I get what you're saying, that sometimes we can explain things in a particular way, and then scientists can also explain it in a different way. So, for example, the scientific explanation for water is H2O, two atoms of hydrogen and one atom of oxygen, which together make one molecule of water. And that's a scientific explanation. That is not to say that is how people see water. People can see water as the, if you like, the tears of God, or the tears of the sky, things like that. And that is what for them water is. So you can have a non-scientific definition of what water is, as the tears of a weeping God, or a scientific explanation where water is H2O. Yeah.
I think one of the things that came away from that, just watching that little clip, is that the guy said that all three thinking are valid, but you could mess up things when you try to make your personal thinking as scientific or mathematical.
Yeah, no, and that is because the scientific endeavor, or the scientific enterprise, is a community enterprise. It's not just one person. But is Brother Carrington here? Yes. So Brother Carrington, if he wants to come explain to us that. So Brother Carrington, give us any example, like atom. Is it the belief of one person, or is it the belief of the community of physicists? As an example.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Just very quickly, what scientists do is make a model of the world. And they say something like, if I decompose water, I will get 1 volume of gas of hydrogen and 2 volumes of gas of hydrogen and 1 volume of gas of oxygen. And this is because hydrogen combines with oxygen, 2 atoms of hydrogen combine with 1 atom of oxygen to make a molecule of water. And then we carry out the test. And when you carry out the test, you see this decomposition. And then you say the model explains the experimental observation. And then you keep on working on refining your model so that it explains the observation stronger and stronger. So starting from African, Greek, Australian, South American philosophers and thinkers, refined to Dalton in England, and then refined to modern quantum mechanics. It's a continuous process of refining the model so that we improve our understanding of physical reality. Thank you.
Yeah, and
Could I ask a quick
Brother
question?
Brother Joseph, so you see what you are saying. Hold on. So what about Brother Joseph is sharing with us is that if, as an individual, as Brother Carrington has explained, you say this is what I think it is, you have to convince the rest of the community, scientifically and logically. You can't just say that because you believe this is this, therefore they must all accept it. Even in science, you know, I mean, this is quite apart from the use of force to get people to I am the king, full stop. If you disagree, I kill you. You know, that kind of thing. They're using force. But so even in science, as Brother Joseph is sharing with us, there is that community of people who have to agree Thank you.
Our time
Can I
is
ask a quick question?
Our time is up, brother Joseph, because we are past our time, please. Maybe we can carry it forward to the next meeting, please.
Just a quick question to Brother Carrington.
The answers might not be available now, but you're free to ask the question so that Brother Carrington can provide the answers later or through our WhatsApp or emails.
So go ahead.
Okay, so permit me just to
Yes.
end it here, please, comrades. We will not extend this. Any question, let us handle it next time. One thing I'll have to announce clearly is that one, we are having our session, almost third session of Africa Liberation this coming Saturday. And what we are looking at is now forming practical solutions towards the way forward. Maybe what's the way forward, having access that our education, religion, economics, and the rest are not liberated. What the practical solutions or activity we must put in place in order to see some steps towards this liberation so that the next Africa Liberation Day, we can look back and say we've done this as a team. But apart from that, the coming next Saturday, the other Saturday, of course, Brother Imani will be presenting about why African Union should be actually abolished or should go in aspect of Africa unity. And then also to remind members is that we are actually doing our subscription, donation for our subscription of our Zoom account, which we are supposed to renew its subscription, I think, in a week time by around 7th or 6th by June. We've received donations and we appreciate from some of our members from this class. And if you want to maybe donate to that kitty, so far we've raised around 60 pounds. So we are left with around 69 pounds, if I'm right. So we are looking forward to people who are willing to do or donate something to help us subscribe for the next 1 year to actually get in touch with me via WhatsApp. I believe most of you or all of you actually have your contact. Just indicate your willingness and I will provide you the what details you need to put in place so that you can share your donation. We appreciate this and we appreciate what you've achieved almost for the last 1 year. So thank you very much, comrades, and let's meet this coming Saturday. Thank you for your time.